The night we met the crazy camper. It was the summer of 2017, and my friends and I decided to take a break from the city buzz and immerse ourselves in nature. We planned a weekend camping trip at the quaint little Arrowhead Lake Campground, a spot we'd heard was serene and ideal for a relaxing getaway. It was supposed to be a peaceful retreat, but what we didn't anticipate was the drama that would unfold. The first day was perfect. We set up camp, played some cards, and cooked hot dogs over the fire. We all retired to our tents early, excited for the next day's hike. However, as we were drifting off to sleep, a series of loud, incoherent shouts broke the silence. The shouts came from a nearby site. The first day was perfect. We set up camp, played some cards, and cooked hot dogs over the fire. We all retired to our tents early, excited for the next day's hike. However, as we were drifting off to sleep, a series of loud, incoherent shouts broke the silence. The shouts came from a nearby site. The first day was perfect. We set up camp, played some cards, and cooked hot dogs over the fire. We all retired to our tents early, excited for the next day's hike. However, as we were drifting off to sleep, a series of loud, incoherent shouts broke the silence. The shouts came from a nearby site. "Stop it, leave me alone," was the gist of it, with intermittent banging sounds. My friends and I exchanged worried glances, but decided it was best to ignore it, thinking it was just some rowdy campers who'd had too much to drink. The next morning, we discovered from the campground host that a new camper had arrived late the previous night. The camper's behavior had already caused concern, but nothing had been done as he hadn't broken any rules. The host didn't provide many details, but advised us to keep our distance. Our hike that day was enjoyable, and we tried to push the previous night's disturbance out of our minds. However, that evening, the shouts returned, louder and more frantic. This time, curiosity got the better of us, and we decided to investigate. As we cautiously make their way through the dense, shadowy woods, the eerie echoes of the man's desperate shouting grow louder. The forest is unnervingly silent except for the man's cries, which seem to twist and reverberate unnaturally. The campers follow the sound until they stumble upon a small, dilapidated cabin, almost hidden by overgrown foliage and darkness. The door is slightly ajar, creaking ominously in the light breeze. The man's shouting becomes more frantic as they approach, and they can make out fragmented words like help and trapped. With a mix of trepidation and resolve, they push open the door. As the door creaks open, a dim light from within reveals a small, cluttered room. The air is musty, filled with dust motes dancing in the faint illumination. In the corner, bound by ropes and looking frail, is a person. They look up with a mix of relief and fear. "Help, trapped," they whisper, their voice cracking. Quickly, the rescuers rush forward, cutting the ropes with a knife they had brought. The person, now freed, struggles to their feet, their eyes wide with gratitude. "I thought I'd never get out of here," he says, his voice trembling. The rescuers guide them out of the room, and as they step into the fresh air, the person breathes deeply, finally free from their confinement. The rescuers offer comfort and reassurance, and together they make their way to safety, leaving the dark and ominous room behind. Inside, the cabin is dimly lit by a single flickering lantern. The air is thick with the smell of mildew and something faintly metallic. In the corner, bound by thick ropes to a rickety chair, is a man with wild, disheveled hair and eyes that seem to dart around with a manic intensity. His clothing is torn, and there are fresh scratches and bruises on his face. His gaze locks onto the campers with an unsettling mix of desperation and malevolence. "Don't come any closer," he croaks, his voice hoarse and trembling. "He's still out there ... watching us." We look around, confused and alarmed. The walls are covered in strange symbols and scrawled messages that hint at a disturbed mind. A dusty mirror on the wall reflects a dark silhouette moving just beyond the cabin's small window, a shadow that seems too large and deliberate. Suddenly, the man's eyes widen in terror. "He's coming!" he screams. The lantern flickers violently, casting erratic shadows around the room. The sound of heavy footsteps echoes from outside, growing louder and more relentless.